Hey everybody, welcome back to Video Game So today I got a fun and very exciting episode for you guys this evening because Point Blank X, the HD remake of the original Point Blank, is here available to download and playable for everyone with a zero-sum cost. And that is absolutely epic because this is, in my opinion, one of the best light gun arcade franchises ever made. I've discussed the original Point Blank 1, 2, and 3 on PlayStation and arcade boards on the channel before, and for the longest time Point Blank X was a game that we knew existed. Some people had played, but no one was ever really able to enjoy at home. That is 100% completely different as of today, and that's something to be absolutely celebrated, because Point Blank X is just another great version of an already amazing franchise, and you're going to be able to play it on PC today with some custom mod patches, so you won't need to worry about joining anyone's Patreon to be able to enjoy this game. And big thanks to Argon, he worked on the patches for this game. He is the one that did the patches for my release of Castlevania Arcade, so he's an awesome modder when it comes to pivoting light gun arcade games that work on PC to work on any PC out there, which is going to be absolutely awesome. And just so you know, all this is doing is taking the mouse inputs and moving them over to light gun inputs. I used Gun for IR on this capture and it worked absolutely outstanding, but pretty much anything you can use that will function as a mouse is going to work in Point Blank Arcade. I don't have a crosshair on right now because I am using the Gun for IR, but in the patch files you'll also have crosshair files that you can incorporate into your Point Blank X installation, so you'll be able to actually see what you are tracking. But trust me, if you don't do that, you're going to have more fun, because actually aiming with a light gun is going to be exactly how this game is supposed to be played. So I will make sure all of this is buttoned up and on archive, the same place you'd find Castlevania, so definitely look out for that. Now, as far as what Point Blank X is concerned, is obviously just an HD remaster of levels from the Point Blank series, and considering these levels are some of the most challenging, most fun, most intriguing things in light gun gaming history in my opinion, you're going to have an absolutely amazing time. It is a two-player release, so you can have fun however you want, and this is just such a pretty version of Point Blank. And if you're not aware, Point Blank X was released in arcades as a full remake of the original, but it would also dispense tickets as well, so this was a ticket redemption game. And considering the state of ticket redemption games in arcades today, I would say Namco was onto something making Point Blank one of those, because this is better than pretty much 99% of anything out there in arcades today that shoots tickets out of the bottom, and that is just absolutely awesome. And it's just great to be able to have another release of an incredible game that you can enjoy for free. Now, there's other ways to play this. If you are a Patreon member of other arcade emulation front ends, this will be available as well, but this patch basically sets it up so that you don't really need to spend a dime to be able to enjoy the game, and Argon's always been great about that, doing it for Castlevania the Arcade. When I release that for everyone, it just means that everyone can have fun without having to open their wallets, and honestly, that's what I'm always advocating for on the channel. When we released Castlevania Arcade, when we released Akuma and Gashan, those were all available for anyone to enjoy without having to spend any cash, so Point Blank X is now joining that in status. And as far as games in the arcades that were not playable at home, this is definitely very high at the top of my list of things I wanted to check out, because I have the original 3 Point Blank games on PlayStation 1, I have the arcade boards in the closet, I have all the peripherals and gun cons to be able to play them, because when I first encountered this back in the day on PlayStation 1, not on arcade actually, I fell in love with this series, and I've loved it ever since. Even people that don't watch my channel, friends of mine in Chicago, love this series so much, we're going to be doing a Point Blank X game night soon so he can enjoy the game as well. That's how beloved this franchise is, and I love the fact that I can tell you as of today, you can just go ahead and grab this game, grab the patch files, set it all up, and be able to enjoy it. And just so you know, there is a readme in the patch files, but it's extremely easy. You just unzip the patch archive over to the folder indicated in the readme and you will be fine. And just so you are aware, if Windows Defender throws up any exemption for that zip file, I have tested this thoroughly. It's just the way that it actually patches the game that always has a false flag. So if you see that, don't worry too much about it, but of course do your own research. Don't just take my word for it, check into it yourself. But of course this is Point Blank, so you know it has an epic soundtrack, and of course it has been remastered here a bit as well. So go ahead and listen to the music for like 45 seconds or so. I'll come back and tell you more about the history of Point Blank X, how to set it up on your PC, and how to play it for free today. But enjoy, because this music is good. The music in Point Blank X is absolutely incredible, and that's just because it's the music from the original Point Blank franchise, and it just has such a personality. This has always been one of those games that just absolutely has its own fun, and it just goes with it, and that's what I've always loved about Point Blank and light gun games in general. And this is just one of those titles. As a party game, it is absolutely fantastic. Trying to go for high score, trying to see if you can 1cc the game. There's so much on offer here, and I'm just playing the beginner mode because it was my first playthrough for capture, but there's obviously expert mode as well as a mode where you're going to be getting all of the different insane challenges. And if you've never played Point Blank before, be aware that insane is absolutely that. It is going to be highly difficult to pass them, but you're going to learn, you're going to get better at the game, and that is where all of the fun is. Now, if you don't have a gun for IR or other sort of light gun system, you can play this with a mouse, or you can set it up with a Wiimote. I use gun for IR, so I have not tested Sinden yet. I do not have one of those, and I haven't heard anyone from my Discord mention trying it, but my presumption would be that this should work perfectly fine once you get everything set up. So if you do test it on Sinden, leave me a comment down below in the comments. That way I can tell more people exactly what works and what doesn't work. And right now, Demule Shooter is not incorporated into the game yet, but maybe by Argon in the future. This is just a simple patch to make sure that you can use the keyboard to coin up and to use a mouse cursor to actually have those gunshots on the screen. And just so you're aware, number 9 on the keyboard is going to be your coin, and number 1 is going to be start. It's as simple as that. Everything else is just going to be shooting at the screen. And I love how this game looks in HD as well. Dr. Dan, Dr. Don, and all of the rest of the characters from Point Blank have a really nice touch in high definition, and honestly, it does still keep most of that 2D aesthetic with a little bit of 3D here and there, just like the original franchise. So this is a very good time in which they take the game, they take what the game was, and they modernize it and just make it feel like a fresh coat of paint version of one of the best arcade games of all time. And trust me, this thing is absolutely challenging, but the good thing is, with the patch from Argon and using a mouse pointer however you do it, the accuracy is dead on the money. If you miss a shot, it's going to be because you missed a shot, or in this instance I did as well. But one more taste of the soundtrack so you can hear the remastered audio in Point Blank X, and I'll be back with just a little bit more. But trust me, this music, 10 out of 10. Just another classic, and I love the score result screen music as well. That is burned into my brain and will always be there. So this is just another awesome day. Another great arcade game that pretty much no one could play unless you found an original arcade cabinet is available for absolutely anyone to play, and you don't need to spend a single penny to do so. And that is always a good time and something I always celebrate on the channel. And this is one of those games that was always on my list of things I wanted to be able to play anytime I wanted at home, because I do not know any longer of an arcade cabinet in Chicago that I could just walk into the arcade and play. This game didn't really seem to be a huge hit when it came out, and now trying to find a cabinet is going to be exceedingly hard if you can do so whatsoever. So if you do know where there's a Point Blank X cabinet in the United States, leave me a comment down below, because I would be very curious to know where they still are, if they are still out there. And of course, it's Point Blank, so you're going to get the final stage where you have to shoot the targets off of the castle to get the fireworks. And honestly, I don't know in my life if I've ever been able to shoot 100% of them. I have a pretty poor showing here because I was slightly misaligned and was looking away at my phone. But honestly, even if I failed, playing this was an absolute blast, and it is now ready for anyone who wants to grab it to play it on their computers, and that is just absolutely a 10 out of 10 fun thing to be able to tell you. Point Blank is one of my favorite game franchises of all time, and now we have another entry available for all. Sure to that, happy Sunday, leave me a comment down below, tell me what you think, and I will see you guys next time, but go play this game, it's good. Bye bye.